Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. So I'm recording the detailed explanation and answers for quiz 2 so you guys can prepare properly for exam as well. So first question was regarding alias and CNAME. We have covered this many times. Alias, also known as a record, is mapping of IP address to domain name. CNAME, also known as canonical name or basically canonical name, is mapping of existing domain to a new domain. ये हमने इसकी एग्जांपल देखी थी कि जब हम वेबसाइट बनाते हैं हमें एग्जिस्टिंग डोमेन के अंदर वेबसाइट मिलती है एंड वी कैन मैप इट टू आवर स्पेसिफिक डोमेन राइट इन द डीएनएस यूजिंग सीनेम रिकॉर्ड. तो ये दो सिनेरियोज होते हैं यूजुअली विच आर वेरी कॉमन इन डीएनएस कि आप यहाँ एलियस बनाते हो या सीनेम बनाते हो. Second question was regarding how can you have private domain names in your VNet. इस क्वेश्चन के दो पार्ट्स थे. दिस वाज फर्स्ट वन. उसके बाद रिगार्डिंग रेजोल्यूशन दैट वाज द सेकंड पार्ट. तो फर्स्ट पार्ट वाज सिंपली यूजिंग एजर प्राइवेट डीएनएस जोन्स. ये बहुत लोगों ने उसके जवाब मुख्तलिफ चीज़ें लिखी थी बट दैट्स ऑल यू नीड राइट. इट्स नॉट एजर डीएनएस. एजर डीएनएस इज अ पब्लिक नेटवर्क फॉर योर resources which are publicly exposed. Azure private DNS zones are for private domains, private domain names in VNet, right? How can private resources in Azure virtual network can be resolved using FQDN? So इसके लिए हमने देखा था कि जब हम ये करते हैं इसके अंदर और हम when we go into the let me switch to this one. हमने इसकी देखा था जब प्राइवेट डीएनएस जोन हमने बनाई थी तो first of all what is FQDN? Any record basically that is sitting over here, right? That is an FQDN, fully qualified domain name. So I can say a record set. I can create for example web app 1 and you can see based on my existing domain name the full FQDN is webapp1.fast.newsers.pk. Okay? It's an A record and I can have a CNAME record also. Link your subdomain to another record, right? You can do this also. But we are creating A record, right? And then basically this FQDN is, for example, I can say whatever the IP address is, right? For example, whatever the IP address of the resources. We saw this in the class already. जो आपका हो जाता है the important part is over here is what to do after this, right? ये हमारा record set बन गया. If you go into this one, you will see the whole FQDN, right? This is FQDN is already here. So once you have this, how the resolution happens, right? The resolution happens is that you need to link this in the DNS zone. And once the menu comes up, actually, if you look at the menu, you can see the virtual network link, right? You can see you have to create this link. So once the link is created with the VNet, then you can then the resolution happens, right? So main thing was to create the link. We did this in the class also. Otherwise, there is no connection with between virtual network and the DNS zone. DNS zone is just sitting. So you must have the link for the virtual network and the resources to be able to resolve and use this DNS, right? That link needs to be there. Okay. Let's look at the third thing, basically. By creating VNet link in the private DNS zone, right? This was a little bit, I think, harder question, the second part, but I did show this one in the class as well. But you must do the link, right? You must create the link for this thing to work, right? We did this one basically, right? Let's go back to the next question. Use of VPN, again, two parts. Um, Again, first question is usage of VPN to create private connection between two VNets, right? And if you can, this is sufficient answer, but you can provide, for example, you can say two different. You can say, for example, this is sufficient. I don't want to go into detail, but just for your understanding, right? This can be two VNets into different organizations, and I can say on-prem VNet to on-prem to Azure VNet connection, right? These are some of the possibilities. Number two, key requirements are, for example, so we can have, for example, we need to have VPN appliances with public IPs on both ends. Right. Then we need to have non-overlapping IP addresses on the VNets being connected, right? And then we can have this is more than sufficient, right? Then you can create the VPN. How to create the VPN? I'm not asking this, right? I'm just saying what are the key requirements before you can start configuring VPN. We need these two things to be there, right? This is more than sufficient. You can put some other things as well, but this is more than sufficient what we discussed in the class multiple times, because both VPN appliances must be able to see each other. Okay. Next question is, what is VNet peering? VNet peering is basically connecting two VNets to Azure VNets seamlessly, right? Seamlessly mean that they are connected and traffic can flow between them on both directions without any problem, right? That is seamless, without any hindrance, without any issues. You can flow traffic between two networks as if they are a single network, right? This is what VNet peering is. How do you do it? Again, two parts. Two parts. Requirements is simple. Two VNets, you need to be, again, main thing is over here, non-overlapping IP addresses, right? I don't want to go other things. Other things is basically you should be able to, you should own them, right? The subscription, and so you can see the VNets, right? You can access the VNets, but I'm not going into that kind of that part of the connection, nor we discuss this. This is a little bit more involved. No need to go into that right now. But main thing is, how do you connect? I mean, you simply go into the VNet. You must have non-overlapping IP addresses in both VNets. It's very similar to what we did in the VPN. Only thing is, there is nothing else needed. Once you have them, you can just simply go into the VNet menu, and we can show it over here as well. अगर आप जाओ यहाँ पे in virtual networks, right? If you go into the virtual networks, and what happens is we can pick right. We created this VNet, for example. I'll go into some other virtual network, right? And we'll see the VNet that we created. And over here in this VNet is the peering menu, and all you do is you just say add, right? You create a connection, you need a link name, and here you provide the name, and here you pick the other VNet, right? You can pick the other VNet, For example, this one, right? That's it, and you do OK, and that's it, right? So there is really nothing much to do over here. Make sure that both links are essentially both VNets are there. They're not overlapping, and that's all, right? So that was all. There was nothing else needed for the answering of this question. We have discussed this again in the class multiple times, the pairing point. It's straightforward, nothing else needed. Just do pairing, right? This question was not, next question is explain the usage of Microsoft Edge service and ExpressRoute service. This question is not about ExpressRoute. I do not need to know what ExpressRoute is and what it does. Many people, many students answered this. Please read the question. Please read the question. It was Microsoft Edge. Microsoft Edge is the entry point, or you can say networking or network entry point into Microsoft data centers, right? आप इस Microsoft Edge तक अपना connection लेके आते हो ExpressRoute के अंदर, and after that the Edge to data center network is provided by Edge, right? From Edge onwards is Microsoft, यहाँ से Microsoft का basically network शुरू हो रहा है, और ये network लेके it goes into the Microsoft data center. That's all there is, right? ये मैंने वैसे वो classroom में भी डाल दिया वैसे. You just needed this one. I don't need explanations. You don't need to describe ExpressRoute and what ExpressRoute does. That's all there is. I've told you guys many times, don't write paragraphs. There is nothing needed. This is all there is to Microsoft Edge. No need to do anything else, right? You will question it. It's a different version of the quiz, so I'll just leave it. VPN gateway, again, very straightforward, simple. It is VPN gateway is used to create VPN tunnel, right? VPN and usage is how you use it. For example, it was a little bit open-ended, so I wanted to see what people are saying, what students are writing about it. But basically, usage is essentially you want to say we can use it. You can say usage. Create between on-prem and Azure, used to create IPsec tunnel between either DCs or other cloud providers and Azure VNets. Okay, those are the two main usages, right, that we are discussing. हम कहाँ use करेंगे? Okay, तो यहाँ पे ये two scenarios हमने पढ़े थे उसके. That's all there was needed. Again, it was open-ended. If you had put the question right answer or right context, I gave you the the right. I gave you the points. This is already there. Again, repeated question. Again, this was the next one. Again, it is same question as above. This one, right? VPN gateway. The question was pretty straightforward. All these, how do you connect to Azure? Again, using VPN gateway, right? Using VPN gateway. How can I connect? Using VPN, you can say we're using VPN connection, right? Or what are the key requirements? VPN appliance with public IPs on both ends, on both VNets, on both, you can say private networks, whatever you want to put on both sides, right? Then non-overlapping IP address. Address both networks being connected, right? That's all. So, I mean, again and again, I'm just gonna say this. Do not write paragraphs. There is no need. Questions are very simple and very straightforward, exactly what I've covered, right? Exactly what we have covered. There is no need to put, I mean, detailed explanation. I don't need to know anything else. Don't provide me your explanations. Don't provide me your, I mean, understanding about other things, right? Focus on the question being asked. I mean, just 1 or 2 words are sufficient. If you know the answers, it'll take you 2 minutes to finish the quiz, right? It's supposed to be very straightforward, very simple, and we have gone over each and everything. Okay, we have gone over each and everything. Anyway, take a look. Let me know if there are any questions. Jazakallah khair. Assalamu alaikum.